Australians may know China as our largest trading partner, but our most important economic partner is the United States, and that's because of two things. Firstly, the US is our most important strategic partner, and secondly, it is our largest investor. And that investment goes both ways. Ohio, September 2019. To celebrate the investment flowing from Australia to the United States, President Trump and the Prime Minister Scott Morrison make a historic journey to the Midwest town of Wapakoneta, the chosen site of Anthony Pratt's newly constructed paper and recycling plant.
As a result of this paper mill, we're now the largest Australian employer of Americans, with 9,000 well-paying American manufacturing jobs. Great example of the Australian-American alliance. Mr. President, if it wasn't for your presidency, this mill would not be here today.
So a lot of people don't tell you about Anthony, but I'll tell you about Anthony. He is the most successful man in Australia. And he said, I'm going to come here and I'm going to spend $10 billion if you win the election. And I won the election. I said, come on, Anthony, what's happening here? And he's spent $2 billion, and he's spending a lot more money, and he's a great man, and he's my friend, and I appreciate it. Thank you, Anthony.
Working with the Trump administration has been fantastic, because we made a pledge to President Trump in 2017 that we would invest $2 billion to create 5,000 well-paying manufacturing jobs. That was the basis upon which I got to know him, because his interest, like ours, was well-paying manufacturing jobs, mainly in the Midwest. I think that the President appreciates that we made a $2 billion pledge, that we actually built the paper mill we said we were going to build. So, you know, he said, you're a man of your word. We like to do what we say we're going to do, because a lot of paper mills get announced and they never get built. He was very graciously came out, and Prime Minister Morrison very graciously came out. It was the first time in history any factory in the United States has been opened by two world leaders at the same time.
As ambassador to the United States, Joe Hockey had a big role to play in making it all happen.
We managed to help him get both the President and the Prime Minister to Wapakoneta, Ohio. Now, that was a pretty challenging task, but we did it, and it was a great showcase of Australian innovation combined with American firepower. Anthony Pratt is a remarkable Australian, and he has a profound influence here and presence here in the United States. He's got innovative technology that's good for the environment, and it's terrific for productivity, and he's made it work, and it's a great credit to him.
He has basically taken recycling to the United States, and the rapid growth that he's seen in his business there is a testimony to his foresight as what can be achieved there, and been very responsive to the policy environment that's been established in the United States. So Anthony's doing a tremendous job there, and there were a lot of Australians I met there who were part of that plan and setting them up, and he's setting up other plants as well. But it was the biggest investment made in a manufacturing plant, I think, under those arrangements the Trump administration had put in place. So that was a good expression that this relationship financially isn't one way.
Pratt Industries first ventured into America in the mid-80s, investing in 2 paper mills in 1987. Ed Kersey joined Pratt Industries in '88 and has seen the family-run business expand to create more than 9,000 jobs.
You know, I've known Anthony for 30 years, and the family, I mean, a great bunch of people. And the great thing is that what they're doing is they're investing a tremendous amount of money in us, our people, and our company. And it's not just brick and mortar, you know, it's bringing the company, the people, the processes together to make the best product for our customers. So it all works really, really well. It's a great recipe.
Opportunity for people like Zach Schmergy.
I graduated school, I was looking for a job, and I actually had a buddy that's a year older than me already working here. So I was talking to him about a job, and they had a few openings here, and I wanted to stay local. So luckily for me, Pratt was building in Wapak, and I was able to get a job here. It's a big deal to this town. We have not had a very big company come into this town for a long time, so for Pratt to come in like this and to be able to get 100 jobs or apply 300 jobs with the box plant is just big for this town. I mean, when I went to school for mechanical engineering, I had conversations with my parents sitting here going, well, I may be able to come back to Wapakoneta, or I may have to move, just because there's not a lot of mechanical engineering jobs in this area. Most part, I mean, if you want to live here, you got to drive 45 minutes to have a job. So for the fact that Pratt is now here, and now I have a very good income, and now I can support my wife and my family, and then also it allows me to still be around not only my family but her family.
As well as the all-important jobs, Pratt brings valuable Australian manufacturing skills and experience. Aussies Andrew Gardner and Alan Rowan have worked for Anthony Pratt for decades and were sent to America to help troubleshoot as the American business expanded. So what's it like working with the Americans?
Everyone, once they get past the accent and understand you, everyone's on board. You know, look, it's a matter of building, the guys building respect for your knowledge. Once they know that you actually have a clue what you're talking about, and we'll lead them in the right direction, off they'll go.
Interpretation gets lost quite easily.
On the radio, yes. It's quite bad. So sometimes you've got to put a redneck accent on to be understood, but it works.
But Alan's good at a redneck accent. Come on.
Come on.
You're talking about two guys you want to take out back and show them who's the bigger, that the U.S. guys are bigger than the Aussies. But no, they're great to work with. They're a lot of fun. I mean, they know their stuff. And just to learn from what is over there in Australia and learn from them guys, it's very interesting and a lot of fun. These guys bring a wealth of knowledge, and they have taught a lot of our local people here and just how to run the machine and what to look for, and when the machine's not running well. I mean, these two guys can walk out and point about two things, and about 3 hours later the machine will be running like a top again.
This is a really satisfying portion of it. You get these new guys that come in, it's these guys of different levels. You get the guys like Zach, he's got a good educational background. You get a lot of military guys and so on in the place. What you find yourself doing after 2 years, I've done a few of these, you find yourself stepping back after 2 years and things just continue on. Okay, you realise you're working yourself out of a job, but until we go for the next one, that is really satisfying to see them take what you've been pushing all this time, or this has been critical, we've got to do it now, so on, before the machine runs bad. You start to step back and you realise these guys are stepping up.
We've got a different formula. At Pratt, we run very, very lean. We have a key group of project managers and process people and engineers that all come together. We know what we want. We have a vision in mind, and we take that vision and act on it. It takes, from the time we put a stick in the ground or a shovel in the ground, it's about 18 months we can have a mill up and operational and producing paper.
In direct jobs, the plant has already created 300 new positions. But the impact of Pratt's investment extends all through the local economy.
When you create 300 jobs, really the rule of thumb is about 10. So what it will do is it's to the power of 10. It will create really 3,000 jobs in the area and have a tremendous influence on the local economy and the people in this whole area.
Since Pratt has gotten here, and I mean, they do pay well, and it's just brought a bunch of growth to the city. I mean, we see more local businesses now putting more money into their places and updating them and making them bigger to house more people. And because with Pratt here now, I mean, it's brought a different mood to the whole city. I mean, now there's people always going out to eat. I mean, the car dealerships that were closing around here are now full because people can go out and they're looking for a new or used car or a brand new car. I mean, it's just been a big deal to the town, and I mean, it's just brought a lot of good things to the town.
Until the coronavirus hit, the uplift from Anthony Pratt's Wapakoneta plant was felt firsthand by local businessman and restaurant owner John William Davis.
You see culturally business boom, people transitioning through for different aspects of work. We also own some apartments in the area. You've seen the rise in the value of people staying in the area. Friends of mine own hotels in the area. The rates at the hotels are up. So yeah, you see that tenfold. Other people that have come to me and asked what we've seen that are also in this area, they're now doing things that we've done. The restaurants are coming in, new businesses are opening. So yeah, it's definitely created a great effect for all parties involved. When Pratt first came to town, we actually went out there and we served them, all of their construction workers, after they got under a roof, because I was going out there and I saw license plates from Texas, Indiana, and I'm like, these people don't know this town, so let's go out there, let's take food to them. So our establishments took food out to them, we served them and welcomed them to the community, and then Pratt then has reciprocated that. You know, we have business meetings we hold for them. We serve food when the Prime Minister and the President met here with the owner of Pratt Industries to some of the people out there, and so their impact has been great. You know, that trickle down effect is invaluable for a demographic to inherit that type of investment around this area.
We'll keep doing it. In fact, I'm proud to say that of the $2 billion pledge that was made 3 years ago that was going to span a decade, we've actually completed $1 billion of it, half of the pledge, in 30% of the time, which is 3 years. So we're ahead of pace, so to speak.
I've never seen the alliance between our countries so positive, so strong, as it is now, after President Trump was elected and Australia's current Prime Minister assumed office.
Depending on the iron ore price, Gina Rinehart and Anthony Pratt seem to share the top of the Australian rich list. Like Anthony Pratt, Mrs Rinehart is an admirer of the Trump reform agenda and believes Australians could learn a lot.
I know President Trump thanked my friend Anthony repeatedly for investing in the USA. I think Australians need to appreciate much more the necessity of investment. Indeed, the Americans and Australians too who invest in our country. Of course, for people and companies to want to invest in Australia, it is very important we make our country attractive to investment. And I don't think we're doing this enough. We should get a better understanding of what is happening under President Trump. With COVID-19 putting Australia into recession, with skyrocketing debts and interest payments, after already badly suffering 4 years of severe drought, plus extensive bushfires, we should no longer be talking about cutting tax and government tape. We need to move to let our economy recover and significantly cut tax and tape now.
Mrs Rinehart's call for reform comes just as Australia's Reserve Bank Governor, no less, says the government should move on tax, innovation and industrial relations reform.
A strong focus on making Australia a great place for businesses to expand, invest, innovate and hire people is the best way of extending the recovery into a new period of strong and sustainable growth and rising living standards.